one thing is actually get back and compete. That's an exciting thing in and of itself in this year. So there's a lot of excitement on the team to get back to actually do this again. The rug was pulled out from underneath us last year, and I think there was that taste in your mouth that you wanted to try to fix everything that you wanted to accomplish last year but weren't able to. So first and foremost, that's it. Can we get back out and compete? And everybody's excited about that. And then the second thing is it's the SEC opener and it's #1 Florida. So, I talked with the girls a little bit yesterday. There's only one team in the country that gets to go against the #1 team in the country, and that's us. So we need to embrace it and still stay on our schedule, but look forward to it and appreciate the fact that we get to do this.
All right, Jeff, do you want to start us with questions?
You can unplug that if you want.
Sure. Plan for this first meet in terms of building depth. Will you use a lot of gymnasts, or have you figured that out yet?
Yeah, well, that is an interesting thing. We just decided on the call. Normally we have 12 or 13 meets in a year. We only have 8, 9 this year if you count the SECs. So we're down 4 meets from a normal season. And when we're on television, which 5 of our 8 are full broadcast, you're not allowed any exhibition at all. So we don't get to work kids out and get them up to speed. And we have a lot of young people who haven't competed much. So we're going to do 2 exhibitions this week, this Friday on each event. And I'm sure Florida will exercise that right as well. So at least early in the year, you're working out all your kinks. You're getting to know a little bit of what everybody's capable of. But the other side of that coin is when you had 12 meets, the first couple of meets you used to try to figure your team out. When you only have 8 meets, you don't use the first couple of meets to try to figure your team out. This is basically like the beginning of February in a normal year. So that's we're entering it trying to do a really good job of scoring, trying to do a really good job of hit ratios, but also at the same time using some spots to get some people some experience, because we desperately need some young people to get their experience quickly.
And then I guess a follow-up would be, can you kind of go over your freshmen who will be competing for the first time, and just kind of guess the roster makeup for this squad?
Yeah, it's still midweek, so a lot can be determined. But right now, the upperclassmen who competed a lot last year are back, and are hopefully all of them are expanding their roles. So, Drew will be in a couple of events at this point. Our goal is not to have her in the all around this Friday, but she'll hopefully be in a couple. Dariana will be in a lot of events, and there's a possibility Dariana could be in the all around, and flashing back to her freshman year when she did a lot of all around for us. Aria Brush could be an all arounder. She was a freshman last year. Cassie Stevens was an all arounder last year. I would assume she's going to stay in the all around this year. Addie Sabados, who did a few events for us last year, she's really made a push to get in the all around this year. So we've got a lot of returners that are expanding their role. Then we had some people that were freshmen last year that didn't compete a whole lot. Morgan Lee Oldham, Piper Smith. There's a few there that are not only going to add an event, but are really expanding their role. So hopefully we'll get to use them on quite a few events. And then the freshmen, we have a lot of talented freshmen. So I do think we're going to have freshmen come in and do some stuff. And they're all fully capable. It's just as of right now, they're sort of the ones that are still, trying to earn their spot. So I know we're going to compete freshmen. I'm just not quite sure which ones we're going to compete and which ones are going to be in the exhibition role.
Thank you.
Jeff, can you just tell us a little bit about kind of the pods and preparation and how things are different, this year?
Yeah, well, August, we were in 4 pods. Well, first you have to go through all the protocols to get in. And when we finally got into the gym, it was probably mid-September when the whole team was in the gym. And then we were in 4 pods. So, and we weren't overlapping pods a whole lot. So, I I was telling everybody, we were coaching 35 to 40 hours a week at that point. Normally we're coaching 20 hours a week, and then we have 20 hours of office work on the side. It was a huge, heavy load on the coaching staff, and I felt like we did a good job. And one of the benefits from that was we really, with multiple coaches and small groups, you really get to know your athletes more. So we actually took it as a benefit that there's some areas where I feel like we improved simply because we were in pods. And that's one of the reasons we never fully embraced getting back into the full team. We've moved to 3 pods, and we're going to keep that all year because I do think the girls are working really good in that. And the coaches, it's much more hands-on when you have these smaller groups. Now we're all in at the same time pretty much now. So we're down to sort of a normal work week compared to what we were doing in August and September and October. But yeah, it's been difficult. We haven't been able to use our loose foam pits. That's usually something that you desperately need, especially when our girls went 3 months without being in the gym. And then to go into loose foam, that you take high risk maneuvers and you put it into a really safe environment. Well, we didn't have that available to us. So we haven't had it all year, and we sort of embraced the fact that we weren't going to have it. So a lot more hands-on spotting, a lot more what we call progressions, which just means it takes a lot longer, takes a lot more time to get your jobs done and get your girls up to speed. So I feel like everybody's embraced it, but it's definitely been a pretty heavy lift.
So that was due to like COVID precautions that you didn't have the foam pits. Is that right?
Yeah, you just can't disinfect them that well.
Right.
So it's, it just doesn't make sense to use it because one kid would use it and then you've got to disinfect it. So.
Right. But then you're saying you guys started pods and that was all COVID precaution, but now it's like, okay, well, it's working pretty well, so we're sticking with it. Is that kind of the mindset?
Yeah. And what we're worried about now is getting on the road and being contact traced with a couple of different. So the way we broke up our pods, when we got to the 3, we wanted to make sure we had a couple of all-arounders in each pod. And our goal was if like one of ours is a blue pod. Blue pod is made up of 2 main groups of girls who are roommates. So if one person gets it, the roommate's going to be contact traced anyway. So we might as well put them in the same pod. And then if you balance that with your all-arounders, the goal is, well, if blue pod gets wiped out, can we still operate with the other 2 pods in a meet? And that's it. And then we challenge the pods to do that. Hey, I know that beam isn't some of your best events, but you're going to have to be really good at beam if we lose blue pods. So I really think that the girls have embraced that. I think they've challenged each other to get better. So yeah, we're going to keep that because when you get on the road, the last thing I want is to come home and have lost my, a good chunk of my team and not be able to have meets when you only get 8.
You've talked before about meet management and, over the course of 2 hours, however long a meet is, performing at your best. Are routines different? You guys have different routines with the protocols, or what's it kind of going to look like on meet day?
Yeah, well, we're gonna start out slow. We're gonna be cautious. That is one of the hurdles when you don't have loose foam pits and all this other stuff to train, and you're really right back to brute force. If a girl throws the move, I've got to spot it on the floor and make sure she doesn't hurt herself. There is no progression to that. So we're going to start out with some base routines, and then we're going to add as the year goes. Everybody's pretty close to their full speed routines, but the goal is let's get out there, let's get through a meet or 2 and figure it out. So I feel like our hit ratios, I'm hoping that we'll have a good hit ratio at this meet, because what we're seeing in the gym is that they're hitting at a high level. But our scoring potential should get better throughout the month of January into February, so that we get 4 or 5 meets in February that we're actually at full scoring potential.
Finally, for me, I guess, just what's kind of their attitude's been like. Meredith's kind of talking about, coming back in the fall, and there was a point in time where you guys were practicing but didn't have a schedule. What's their attitude been like this whole time?
Well, gymnastics it's a lifestyle. It's not a sport. So with these girls, you can't go 50 or 60 or 70%. You can't play at gymnastics. You've either got to do it or you don't do it, because you're going to get hurt if you're not, fully dialed in. I do think it was a really good wake up call to some of them when they went home, didn't have gyms open, and it's basically a forced retirement for a lot of the upperclassmen. And they had a bad taste in their mouth and they couldn't do anything about it. So I think there's been a renewed urgency in the gym for some of them to get back to where they wanted to be, or even beyond that. The mentality, the dedication has been fantastic. This group has been really good. And, I got to say, the freshmen, they have no idea what normal college gymnastics is, because they've never been a part of a team before, and they still haven't been a part of a team. And, they signed up thinking they're going to have 9,000 people in the arena. They're not going to have that, so I feel, they didn't get a summer, and every other kid gets a summer. They didn't get to go to class. Some of them, many of their classes were online. So I just feel like the mentality of this team has been fantastic. They've been great to coach. They've embraced everything we've asked them to do. And a lot of the stuff we're asking them to do, we have to change it 3 weeks later, because, with this virus, everything changes on a monthly basis. So they've been very patient and very dedicated, very, very happy with where we are.
Jeff, I had just one last one for the broadcast on Friday. What would you want people who tune into that, I guess, to know what the identity or the culture of Auburn gymnastics is? How would you define that?
We're just much more of a blue collar team right now. We're trying to get in and we're embracing day to day. I think they learned their lesson last year that, we went into the last 2 meets of the year last year with our eyes on the SECs, on the SEC championship meet. And they never got even to the meet before the SEC championship meet. So they're just putting in the work. And I think that's what the difference is, I think Meredith summed it up really well. They're just embracing every day they get to do this sport. And I really think this is an opportunity to go out and compete against one of the best teams in the country on national TV in front of some fans. And they're just going to embrace it. And we're going to embrace the fact that, yeah, I don't know what it's going to look like. I have a good plan, a good idea of what it's going to look like, but I don't even know how we're going to rotate events. This whole protocol thing is really difficult to break into a gymnastic structure. So I think the main thing I'd like other people to understand is all the hard work and dedication it gets just to be able to get onto the arena floor again. And that's not just us. That's not just my team. That's the administration here. That's the SEC. I mean, it's just amazing that the SEC is doing this, giving our kids, I'll put it this way, giving our kids the opportunity to do what they love. That's what our conference is doing. That's what our athletic department is doing. That's what Alan Green is doing and all the administration underneath him for these people. And that's what our medical department is doing, making sure that they're doing it, but that we're as safe as we possibly can be. And all along the way, we're going to try to be really competitive. And I think we will be.